welcome to class number 3 of Uplift Your Head and Neck. And this class, we're going to be working again with the wall. You can use either a neck gaiter or today I was playing around with using just a t-shirt over my head. I mentioned that last class, but that works awesome. So you don't have to get this fancy neck gaiter, even though it's not that fancy. But a t-shirt works really well, and you just put the t-shirt over your head, and so that your hair and your face can slide and move on the wall and not put oil on the wall and so forth. So you can try using a t-shirt, and you may even prefer that over something tighter fitting like a hat or a sweatshirt or something like that. Okay, and we're going to start with some massage. So let's rub your hands, breathe through your nose, activate your hands. And we're going to just stroke over your head and back down your neck and then around your throat, chest. I'm going to move back a little bit here and down your legs, down to your feet, and then coming up the backs of your legs, the back, and stay for a moment with your hands on the kidney area. Okay, the kidneys are such an incredible organ for calming as well as energizing. So just resting here for a moment can be very grounding, and then tap a heel, tap another heel, and then wrap your hands around to the front of your belly here and make a circle, which is clockwise. If you look down at your hand, it's going to be on the right side, coming up and around, down. Let's do another one slowly. And as I've said in other series, when you move slowly, this will prepare your body for learning, and it will kind of entrain everything to be at a pace that the body can absorb. So when we finish with your hands on the belly, this will teach you how to calm yourself very quickly, how to collect yourself in your gut. And also this area activates your intuition. Intuition is a kind of woo-woo word in a way, but it activates the old brain that tells your nervous system, basically, is this safe or not safe? I mean, it's like it's almost like computers where they have the 0 or 1 for computer programming language, and this is your 0 or 1. You know, it tells you safe or not safe, and so by really clearing the belly and knowing what feels safe, you can have a lot better connection with the environment, and also just in working with your body. So that's why I do this a lot as a warm-up, and I try to do it differently each time. Okay, so now we're going to do some more massage. And the reason I mentioned last class, is that if we can feel the connection of your head, neck connecting to the torso, you will have a better sense of where your head is in space. It'll help the structure be more in a neutral place. So here we go. So rub your hands. We're going to do a little bit of massage. And as you rub your hands, think about the bones. Okay, this is different than regular massage. Breathe through your nose. And we've already slowed ourselves down a little bit. So you're going to take one hand around your ear so that the heel of your hand is under the jaw. Rest your elbow on your leg, okay? So the weight of your head is on your leg. And then tap your heel. Your heel should be right below your knee, all right? Now, here's where we do it differently today. Your other hand is going to go around your ear, okay? And we're going to make a circle with your elbow and push gently against your chin with the heel of your hand, not with a lot of force, very gently, kind of the way some animals lean into you, you know, a dog or a cat will kind of press against you. Very gently pushing and then coming back. And this feeling of uplifting your head, of pushing in a gentle manner with the elbow, with the hand, breathing. Now reverse just a little bit, so you just play with that movement. Okay, good. Now use your bottom hand and push your head back up with your bottom hand for a moment. All right. Okay, and let's just take both hands and just do some circles behind your ear and the back of your head. Just a little bit. Okay, and then put one hand on your head. Okay, and just turn just a little bit and look at the horizon. Now, rest. Now, if you have a history of either having a head injury, a whiplash, been rear-ended, you didn't really think it was a big deal, fallen off a horse, any of those kinds of situations, your neck may have a fair amount of unconscious tension from being kind of badly adjusted, let's say. And so this series of movements that we're doing with massage, as well as working on the wall, is going to very gently uplift, you know, lengthen the space in the vertebrae and open the circulation in there. But you must be careful that you do not do too much at once. So if you are in this class and you're like, oh, that doesn't feel right, stop. Don't keep doing the movement. You can lie down and rest. If you get dizzy, stop. And you can put one hand on your head, or, you know, be close to something, tap a heel, so you're feeling the contact, okay, of your bones, and that will help with dizziness. All right, now let's come back again to the same side. You're going to lean into that leg a little bit, and your other hand is by the ear. And this time you're going to move from the underneath hand. This hand below is going to make a circle with your head and gently, kind of pushing very gently to lengthen. And you can play a little bit with where you're settling your hand, but lengthening from underneath. This is just stabilizing. The top hand is stabilizing. The bottom hand is making a circle. Now that, reverse that circle a little bit. And then let's push from underneath, push your head up. And then let's rest. And you can just kind of feel that side that we had the weight on. Okay, just take a moment and let things settle. Just let things settle. There's so much going on with our heads because of the brain, of course, but also all the sensory information. And there's a lot of things that, you know, if you've been, let's say you got hit in the head by a ball, or something hit you in the head, or someone hit you in the head, all different kinds of things that can be very disturbing to the head and neck. And so be gentle with yourself. This work can be very healing, but we want to do it little by little, not all in one go. It just doesn't work well when you try that. So let's do the other side. You're going to put your hand now around the ear. Lean onto that elbow. Make sure your heel is under your knee. You can kind of tap and see. And now take your other hand and place it around the ear. And let's make a circle with your elbow and very gently use your shoulder too to very kind of coax your head just a little bit longer, not too much, and then come back. So easy does it. Breathe and try to surrender a little bit of your head, the weight of your head, into that hand that's underneath. It's a beautiful thing to rest your head. You can reverse the movement. Breathing. Okay. And then let's push with the underneath hand, push your head up, push your head up. And rest for a moment. You can kind of gently touch behind your ears a little bit with your hands. And if you want, if you feel a little wobbly, put one hand flat on your head and tap your heel on each side, and that will help organize your head. Okay? Just take another moment. Okay, and then let's come again. So we're going to lean on that hand on your leg so that it's around the ear. The jaw is sitting in the palm of your hand. Your other hand is wrapped around your ear. It's stabilizing. This time the underneath hand is going to make a circle and gently pulling your head, coaxing it to get a little longer like the goose, right? Think about the goose with its long neck and it's looking for food. And if we were more oriented to not use our hands to eat with, we would be using our heads. Okay, reverse. So feel your mouth kind of reaching like the goose. Beautiful. And then push up with underneath hand, push your head up to come up. All right. So these self-massage techniques, you know, they'll be on this video and you can review them. And I just want to, you know, encourage you to check in between you do these movements. You'll feel how does your neck feel. And last time we talked a lot about the collarbone and we did a lot of squeezing. I'm not going to do so much of that today. It would be too much, but you can feel with your fingertips, how is the tissue along the collarbone now? Is it getting softer? And then how does the tissue feel back in the spinous processes of the back of your neck, the bones in here? Can you start to feel the bones in the back of your neck? So we can check in today with those, but we had all those other massage techniques in the last class that you can review. Okay, so now I want you to take your hands around your ears like this. So one hand is like you got your face. Okay. All right, now we're going to take one hand and you're going to lengthen up, uplift a little bit, and then come down. Use the elbow to very lightly push up and around on the cheek, but you're moving the bones very gently here, up and around, up and around. Okay, and now just sort of like a slow motion boxer, you're pushing like an uppercut, and you're pushing from underneath with the elbow up your head, and your head is just, let it go with the movement. Don't try to do the movement with your head, but let your head be supported by the hand. Okay, now let's just rest for a second. There's so much. Just rest. Okay, one last time. This is fun. But if you want, you can do this later. If it's like, oh, that's enough for me, you don't have to do this. But what we're going to do is we're going to come under with one hand slowly, and then we're going to go with the other. And it takes some coordination, and you want to go relaxed as you do this. So it's not going to be maybe so easy. And then you can go a little higher with your elbows until you're looking toward the ceiling, but not beyond the ceiling. And then come down to the horizon. So don't look down, just stay at the horizon and then rest. And actually, let's touch the back of your neck too, just to pat our hands in the front. Just stroking up the back of your neck. And now put one hand on your head and just tilt from your hips forward and back, turn. Feel how this is now. Try the other hand on top of your head. Tilt forward and back. Turn, and keeping this nice long uplifted head. Okay? So this peripheral vision, if you wiggle your fingers, can you see your fingers wiggling on the sides? That's a good sign. Maybe you have to bring them more in front of you, and you can play with how far back can you still see both fingers. This is a sign of health when you can come pretty far back. So you can play with that, you know, do this lesson a whole bunch of times and see if your peripheral vision improves. And it should, because of the softness in the high part of your neck that affects your eyes. Okay, so much. Okay, so now that'll be our massage portion of the show. We're going to move on to the wall and get your neck gaiter and or a t-shirt, and let's head over to the wall. I need to make some changes here a little myself. Ready? Okay, so what we're going to do today on the wall, I'll put this on. And I'm actually going to face you this time. We'll try it a little different, just so you can see me if you need to. But you're going to have your face to the wall. So I'm going to show you first. So watch first. You're going to be having your head turned to the side, and we're going to be sliding your head toward one hand. So I'll be like this with my head to the side. Okay? And then I'm going to be sliding to this hand. And you can have one foot a little forward, okay, when you're sliding to that hand. All right? I am going to face you, not that you're going to see me because you're going to have your face to the wall, but if you need to look at this video later, if you get confused or something, I'm going to be like this with an imaginary wall in front of me, okay? So you're going to have the side of your head, and I have the opposite foot forward, okay? You can just play with which foot you have forward, but you're going to have your head turned, and you're going to slide your head along the wall to your hand, and then slide back, keeping your cheek on the wall the whole time. As you come to your hand, I want you to touch and rub your nose on your hand, okay? And you can even get your mouth into it if you want. But then slide the side of your head along the wall back to the center. Okay? So let's do it one more time. So you're going to take your head and slide it along the wall until you come to your hand, and rub your nose on your hand. Feel the connection between your head, just like a goose. They're searching for food with their, you know, big beaks, and then you come back with the side of your head, and then bring your forehead back to the middle. Okay, let's step away from the wall for a moment. Relax your arms down. If you want to, you can, you know, touch the top of your head again. That's very stabilizing if you're having balance issues at all. And then let's walk a little bit and feel the difference, just that little bit. All right. And then when you're ready, let's come back to the wall. We're going to have the head turned the other way. Okay. So you're going to be looking the other direction, and you're going to slide your head toward that hand and rub your head on the nose on the hand, and keep your head so the side of your head is on the wall. Come back, slide again so the side of your head, side of your cheek, and then find your hand with your nose and keep your cheek on the wall as you rub your nose up and down. And so you might need to, when you do that movement, you might need to bend your back more, yeah, in order to make that movement with your cheek staying on the wall. And then take your cheek back to the middle. This is not that easy to do. This is more advanced. This is class number 3, okay? So turn your head one more time, that same side, take your cheek, slide it toward the hand, okay? And then let's rub up and down, and you can move your upper back a little bit in order to move your head. But you think about those geese with their long necks. And then let's come back with your head sideways until you get back to the middle, and then you can take your forehead. Okay, let's come away and let's walk. So walk around and just see how it feels to walk. Notice what's different. Are you starting to be more on top of your feet? And let's come back to the wall. So now you're gonna have both hands on the wall. Face the wall. I'm facing the camera here, but you're gonna face the wall. I'm gonna be like a mime. All right, and now you're gonna turn your head and begin to slide your head to one hand, okay? And begin to rub your nose on your hand. And how can you move your chest and your back? And then slide it back, keep it sideways as you slide back, but then turn now so the forehead is touching, and then go to the other side, slide so that the cheek is touching, and now go to your other hand, rub your nose on your hand, then slide your cheek back to the middle, and then turn your head, and one more time, turn to the other side, slide your cheek to that hand, rub your head against the hand, slide back, head to the middle one more time, slide your head now on the other cheek to the other hand, slide, touch your nose, keep breathing, and rub your nose, feel the contact of the bones here. And last time, sliding back the side of your head. And then come away from the wall. All right. Now, before we do much more, you can take off your scarf or whatever you have on your head. And let's pull on your ears a little bit and pull toward the ceiling with your fingers. Grab a hold of the tops of your ears, pull up. This seems so simple, but it actually is a little bit tricky. Don't move your hands, but nod your head and keep your eyes looking at the horizon. Okay, look at the horizon. So you might not look at the computer screen for this one. Look at the horizon. And then lower your arms and walk and look at the horizon when you're walking and see if it feels different now in your head. And the way you're walking, can you stop on one foot and turn and feel your balance now on one leg. Okay, and this is the thing about birds, is they can balance so well on one leg because their head is so nicely organized because of how they have to eat. For one, they really are incredibly dexterous with their necks, but they also have to balance, not so much geese on branches, but other birds, the passerine birds, have to balance on these branches, and their heads and tails so well organized. So we're going to use a little bit of that in this series. When you stand on one foot, put one hand on top of your head, okay, and turn and just feel now the horizon, yeah, as you turn. Okay, try the other leg, one hand on your head, turning, okay. And if that's not so easy, if you get dizzy or you're, pull up on your ears, okay. Look at the horizon, pull up on your ears, and then take a step and see, does that feel better? Just connecting with your head. You can nod up and down, you can nod, or nod sideways, turn your head sideways too. Okay, let go with your hands, walk around, see how you feel, and then we'll come back to sitting. So now when you sit, feel your head, you can take your hands and sort of touch your neck now, touch around your ears now, the front of your forehead, the back of your head now, the sides of your head. It's a lot to feel your head so clearly, okay? And then we're going to finish by stroking your head down like we started, but really connect down to your feet, okay? So much attention to the head. We're going to be like some, giant head. We want to kind of get our right-sized head back on, So find that kidney area like we did before. Tap a heel. Tap another heel. And let's do it one more time, stroking down the back of the head, down the neck, down the front of the throat, down your chest, down through the groin. Maybe, and here's something to work on when you do this lesson again and again. Pause in different places that your hands feel like, oh, I need to stay here longer. So like the groin, your hip joint here, this is a really important area to relax. The energetics of the body needs to travel through there. So you can hold your hands there a little longer sometimes. Take a breath or two, even move your legs in and out just to move them forward and back, something to open that joint. That's it. And now let's go down to your knees, down your legs to your feet, and stay on your feet for a moment. Feel the ground. Connect to the ground. And then let's come up the backs of the legs. Right? Come up the kidney and then around to the belly. And we'll just pause here for a moment in the belly. And when you feel an area, if it feels tense or scared or anxious or, high energy, just muster up some kindness and compassion in you for these places. This is your opportunity to heal yourself, to invite higher consciousness in for healing and connection to the earth. Really bring in the kindness, okay? Kindness is one of the highest forms of love. And so, touching yourself in a kind manner, stroking, moving more kind, all of this will be very helpful in, our evolution. So, okay. So that's it for today. Next class, I hope we can pack in some. I want to work possibly on the ground too, but there's so much to do on the wall still. But we'll see what we can do in the next class. All right. So thanks for joining me. We've got more bonus material now, and I'll be talking more about the geese in that time because I'm ready. I've got to wrap this up. All right. So I'll see you next class. And well, let's see what happens this next week. Then you can get some more insight, right? But of course, just play with this a little more and see, and you can probably get some input from your body on what's working. It's hard when we do a lot of different things, for sure, to know what's the magic bullet, right? Well, just to respond, I mean, the series is, if the head is not stable, and you learn this in a Feldenkrais training, how much work it is to do something like walking and anything, you know, if the head, if we're working so hard to hold our heads up, and it is something that gets interrupted by all kinds of assaults and traumas in life, you know, the head carriage. I find for me, and I guess doing also a lot of study for many years, doing less, smaller little lessons, a little more time to digest it, a little more time also to kind of get your guys' input and learn from each other. I just find it's a little more stabilizing for me. And I feel more secure doing a smaller amount at a time. It doesn't feel like climbing a mountain, you know, in a lesson. We're doing steps. Yeah, no, I'm thrilled about this format too. And I'm actually, a lot of people are leaving after the first half hour, and I'm like, you guys, you're missing some of the best part, because the second half sometimes is really a revelation for me as a teacher, and I'm so thrilled, and it's getting better and better each time. Actually, I'm finding more juice coming out from you guys, which is awesome. What's so beautiful about your story is that the geese, you know, you can see the physical V of it, and you can feel it, you can hear them, you know, communicating back and forth. And as humans, you know, well, you've seen with the Black Lives Matter, right? The incredible, you know, I call it almost a parade of people, right? Just these giant, long, as far as you can see, people, you know, or the last thing with the race car driver and all these people behind him. I mean, I was crying. I was like, oh my God, you know, this is so beautiful to see the support in humanity for people that have been downtrodden. Yeah. And so you'll see these threads in nature that it inspires the human condition to me. I feel like, yes, we have it still, you know, we're connected and we're connecting, and, you know, we can bring out the best in each other and carry each other along. And this is a tough time on many, many levels right now. Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad to hear it. And I mean, I can tell it's good for me because I'm very excited to teach, and that's important as a teacher to really love what you do. And just to say one thing about the cheek lesson, you know, Feldenkrais had a lot of lessons on the floor, on the cheek, and I love those lessons, but they're really not that accessible for people, in my opinion. And you can easily get hurt, especially if you have some serious neck injury. So working on the wall, not only is it clean on the wall, you know, the floor can be pretty dirty, especially with COVID now. It's cleaner, and it's safer. There's less weight on your head, and it can be very sensual, this movement. You know, you can almost feel the sensuality of stroking, you know, and we did all of this nice massage, and then we go and do this on the wall. And so when you practice this week with playing with connecting to the wall with the side of your face now, you know, how nice could it feel for you, you know, not just to achieve touching your hand, but can you, and if you can't reach your hand, bring your hand closer, make shorter directions with it, and make it, and then you can go a little further and further, you know. So play a little bit with the constraints you make, with where your hands are on the wall, how far apart they are, and then play with your head, and then, like, you know, you can move your chest a little bit when you're, you know, using your nose. You can play a little bit with you can even put your hand on your chest and so forth. You know, if you're feeling like this area has just been frozen, then, you know, give it some love, give it some support with the other hand. Right? So there's different tools that we can do to wake things up in this region. And this is the heart, by the way. This is, you know, opening your heart. And so, and these birds, you know, they have these gorgeous breasts, right? And they, you know, they sing, and they, you know, they lift their heads, and the idea with this, and if you gently now hold your throat like we did the last session, how do you touch yourself now this week? And this is, we've only had 2 classes, but I can see that people have a more gentle touch now to your throat, because of the relationship that we've made already, not just with our hands, but with the wall, right? And so how beautiful to begin to open this region, which is where our voice box is, and the thyroid gland, which is the master gland. You know, it dictates the hormones in the body. It's our energy level, it's metabolism. And as we age, we really want this area vital, okay? As elders, you know, a lot of us are older now, we really want it easy for this energy to come, you know, out. So very excited. I love this series so much of the head and neck, because, you know, it's about expression, and each of us, you know, how can we clear our voices and call to one another, and the vibration that we carry can be cleaner and more full of life, you know, so that when, just like you hear those geese, makes you want to cry, because their cries are full of life, just like our voices are. And we'll start to hear it. We'll start to hear it more and more. It'll be emotional. It is emotional. And, you know, that's good. It's good to be emotional. That means you're alive. And you're not alone. We're a very social animal. There's lots of people supporting you. Right here in this class, there's people. It's very comforting right now. That's why I did the goose. And, you know, oh. Okay, I am a jazz artist, I guess. I am riffing off of Feldenkrais's,
Sure.
he had a sliding the head toward the hand. Has a bunch of those.
Yep.
On the belly, on the floor.
Yep.
And so any of the lessons that are on the back or on the floor, just about any of those you can do on the wall. You just take them against the wall and have fun. Go have fun.
Changing orientation.
Yeah. My source for this was from Kung Fu. And it was from someone pushing me against the wall for, I'll show you. So if somebody has you against the wall, and the defense, you know, if you have a mugger or something, they push you against the wall, the defense is you drop down, you know, and you can punch, yeah? So there is this ability to use the wall to push against, okay? And when I had this training, and then I started to put my head against the wall, and then I was like, ta-da, you know, there I am. I'm in all the Feldenkrais lessons I've ever done, but I'm now standing against the wall. And the problem with a lot of Feldenkrais is that it's not a problem, but developmentally, if we're always on our bellies and our backs, it's an infantile position, and we tend to regress and we kind of go asleep. And there's a power differential with the teacher, which I
Mm.
really do not like at all.
Mm.
I don't think it's helpful. And we need to go back and forth to be able to integrate from lying down and being this passive, explorative, aformist type of thing, to being upright in gravity, which is the human condition. We're an upright animal. And so playing with the wall is, it's very good if you've had trauma where somebody's overpowered you. It's much safer than being on the ground. Okay. Any grappler, any martial artist will choose to be up than on the ground. And so, I think if Feldenkrais had lived longer, he would have taken his work to the wall. That's my personal opinion. And, the man was a genius. He was so just incredibly brilliant. And he probably did lessons on the wall. I mean, I'm sure he did grappling against the wall. But my experience of fighting at the wall, I mean, I haven't been in a real fight, against the wall. And it's so informative. And it's like this feng shui principle, with your back against the wall, you've got the power of the wall. It's like the mountain is behind you, and if somebody pushes you against the wall, there's a Tai Chi element where you take their energy and you've got their energy and the wall. And it's just like, it's crazy, but you've got power with the wall behind you. So for people who've been overpowered in life, I have found this wall experience is so empowering to feel yourself and to be soft but strong at the same time. I could talk on and on, so I'll shut up. But that's why I have used this, and I discovered it when I had this horrible snowboarding accident where I almost became a quadriplegic and landed right on C7 T1. I thought that was it for me, and but I spent days against the wall, and it was just like putting myself back together again. It was very empowering, and I'm so grateful for the Feldenkrais work, and the martial art work to put that stuff together. It was like 2005, I think.
Oh, so it's been quite a while.
Yeah. So I've been playing with that since then, 2005. The wall work, and I had been doing martial arts right before that for many years. Yeah. So the cool thing with the wall is it's, you don't have to be a Feldenkrais practitioner. You can play with the wall. And I'll show you a lot more things to play with the wall. And then eventually you can, the simple rule with Feldenkrais, and I'm always trying to teach people how to be your own practitioner, is just connect with the bones wherever you are. Like those are your building blocks, the Legos. They're like the Legos, and you plug them in together to get a clearer self-image of yourself. Right? And other practitioners on this class can speak up too to that, but and the mind is so clever. Yeah. It's an interesting thing, isn't it? I feel like the geese were the part in that book. It was all about this. I won't go into the whole thing, but the geese were all about encouragement. And I'd had so many powerful experiences with geese ever since I read that book that I thought I got to do a series on this. And particularly now with our current situation in the world. I mean, we've been coming into this situation for a long, long time. is certainly on many fronts, but particularly now we really need each other, and we need each other's encouragement as much as we can. And it's a polarization. There's so much negativity right now in the media on certain levels, and then there's these bright stars. There's incredible light happening at the same time, and it's hard to navigate. Like, what the hell are we going to do around the world? Like, everybody, what are we going to do? And I feel like this is what I've been training for my whole life. I've had survival training, I've had naturalist training, I've had awareness training, Feldenkrais training, I've had emotional training, emotional support training. I've had all this training, and it's all about survival, but it's about with the group. So it's not about, any one of us being the star, but that each of us, we sometimes take the lead when the other's tired, or that we see where to go, and our voices communicate what's happening around us. We really need to be connected to figure out what's the best place for us to be as humans and how to proceed. It's uncharted territory where we are right now. So that's my opinion. So you can have two choices. So you'll have one hand on your head, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I put my hand on my head, and then you're gonna have this, let's say I'm standing on the foot by the wall, and the other leg, you can be on the ball of your foot, okay? For a little balance, okay? You've got like 90% of your weight on that one foot. And then that way you can play a little bit with shifting forward or back on that one foot. And you can even kind of come up onto your heel and tap to feel the solidity of that one leg. Well, let me give you an assignment for next week. So you guys are all scouts, okay? So I want you to notice in your environment what you're drawn to in nature. It may, geese is our theme. You might run into geese where, depending on if they're around where you live, but there may be other things, whether it's a tree or a butterfly or, anything. Notice what it is and what about it attracts you, because that will open your awareness. And we're trying to practice trusting this, okay, the belly. Trusting not just the belly, but this huge energy center here that gives us the red light or the green light that helps guide us in the world. And nature is such a good teacher for developing our communication with our own body. And as it was said so nicely by one of you, a lot of us have been given other messages, and you've been sort of in the head mentally on what to do, what's the right thought. We want to clear and come into this area, and by noticing these things in nature and being kind about it, like, don't discount it if it's a worm or if it's a little rabbit, or so, it's not the coyote or it's not the lion or whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. Just notice your feeling in your body to this thing that you're attracted to. And as I've done in other series, you can ask, if it's a bird or something, you can ask a question if you want. What message do you have for me? Or ask your body, what am I feeling in response to this thing in nature that I'm connecting with? Okay. And the emotions are really important. What we feel emotionally is important, very important. So, noticing that, and you might have an opportunity to do some healing from this. And you're going to start calling more of nature to you. So you're going to have more weird experiences in nature, which is great. Kathy? Oh my gosh. How did that feel? Yeah. That is so cool. What a gift. Especially right after it sang. Beautiful story. All right. So these are the gems. You guys will just keep reporting anything, and you may not think it's a big deal, but sometimes your story will touch one of us in a way that we need to be touched or tickled or whatever, opened by your stories. So this is part of the class, and it's part of your assignment, as well as playing a little bit with your cheek on the wall, playing a little bit with some of the massage. Whatever you do, don't do too much at a time, because I taught earlier today, I actually couldn't do the wall again. It would be too much for me. And it wasn't that long, right? The lesson was short, but you've got to respect this area. It's a very vulnerable area. Don't do too much at a time. Check in, make sure that your head is level when you're done, because it'll be more mobile. We want it to be stable. And walking will help stabilize your head. Walking with a hand on top of your head will be stabilizing. So those are just some tips. If you're dizzy, lie down. If you're tired, lie down. Okay, sound good? All right, so next week, I can't believe it. Is that class 4? Yeah. All right, we got one more to go, and then we'll be working with the face. So, you'll probably think, oh, I hate to leave the neck and head, but we're still going to have the head to work with the face. So it's going to be fun, and it will be beautiful because we're opening the face, finding out more about our faces. Okay? Take care. I'll see you next week.